Hello, everyone. Welcome to a great and amazing session of CODES, which stands for Conversations of Destiny. And my name is Charles Msilanga, and it's so great that you could join us this amazing time and season where such conversations are very needed and very important. And with me today, we have one of the greatest men that I look up to, who has not only influenced and inspired me in different ways, but has also done the same to many people in his country, which is Kenya. And it also happens to be my country and the whole world. And I could not get any better person to do a groundbreaking introduction of our new project other than him, and that is Boniface Nyoike. And without much further ado, I would like to introduce my friend and my mentor, Mr. Boniface, to this amazing session called Conversations of Destiny. And today we are going to talk about authenticity, life authenticity. And guess what? Who is going to be the best person to talk about this? This is Boniface Nyoike. So ladies and gentlemen, welcome Boniface Nyoike. Boniface, how are you doing today, sir?
I am very well. I also hope you're keeping well.
Oh yeah, I am for sure. And it's so glad to have you here. Thank you so much for being a blessing to us. And thank you for joining us. And thank you for participating in this conversation. And I'd like first of all, the audience to know, who is Boniface Nyoike?
All right. Thank you once again, Charles. It's my privilege and high honor to be on this platform today with the guru on personal development matters. Couldn't be better than this. Like you've rightly said, my name's Boniface Nyoike. I am passionate about inspiring my generation to authenticity, growth, and excellence. I call it becoming a person of age. You become a person of age. When you become authentic, you grow and you shoot for excellence in everything you do. I'm a family man. I'm a husband of one wife who is a lady. And of course, we are blessed with 3 wonderful children. And again, like I've rightly shared, I'm passionate about developing people and challenging them to the peak of their potential. And I'm very excited to be on this platform today.
Amazing, Bonnie. Amazing. Thank you so much. Now, as we are talking about authenticity, let me ask you this first question, Bonnie. Do you think people or majority of people are living lives of authenticity? According to you, do you think that is happening the way it should be happening?
That's a very good question. And it's a question I hear quite a bit. And I'll say this. When we are born being ourselves. But as we grow up, we begin to be exposed to the society. We begin to be exposed to the world, different ways of thinking. And in the middle of all that transitions and exposure, we begin to lose contact with who we really are. And so we begin to ape what is considered to be success by the culture, by history, by tradition. And so a lot of people end up losing themselves and they go through life living a counterfeit life and forgetting that there is no success in not being yourself. True success begins with being yourself, being aware of yourself, and being in touch with yourself. Now, is that true about majority of the people? Absolutely not. We live in a world where you're given labels, and unfortunately, a lot of us accept those labels and we forget who we really are. And we begin living our lives based on somebody else's script of what they think we should be. So a lot of people are not living authentic lives. And that's why they get a lot of things to sort of compensate for that lack of authenticity. And they end up losing on who they really are. So a lot of people are not authentic.
Wow. So a lot of people are not authentic. And you've given us the reason as to why that is happening. And I really appreciate that, because that was my second question. But I would also love you to I would also like you to kind of go deeper in terms of sharing and explaining how does authenticity and human beings' potential relate and connect. Maybe if you could explain and expound that deeper, I think that would be great and would be a great blessing to people.
Yeah, amazing. And absolutely, you cannot disconnect authenticity from your own potential and greatness. Why is this important? Let's say, for example, when you were born, you had a passion. Like for you, for example, you had a passion to become a personal development expert, a people development consultant. And then along the way, somebody fits you and they begin to tell you, no, you don't need to become a personal development consultant. You can become a lawyer or you can become an accountant. And of course, you get into that field and to some extent, you're able to excel. Now, the problem is this. Any success that you get that does not connect you with fulfillment shows that you have an external result that is not connected to inner authenticity. Anytime success is genuine is when your outer reality connects with inner fulfillment. And that's what authenticity does. When you succeed in something that is authentically you, you not only impress people, but you're fulfilled in your own self. And the truth of the matter is, even when people are not impressed with your success, if you have succeeded from a place of authenticity, you get fulfillment internally so that you don't need external validation. Now, the opposite is also true, that when you succeed in something that is not connected with who you are, you may get external validation, but you will have what is called internal frustration. Now, what could be worse than living through life? Everybody is cheering you on, but they cannot lift you out of depression because you are not fulfilled. And that's why I keep telling people that success, authenticity, and potential is when you live the highest version of yourself, so that even if people are not impressed with you, you are impressed with yourself. The worst success is the one that impresses others and depresses you. And that's the connection between authenticity and fulfillment, that when you're authentic, you build your potential to become the best version of yourself, not necessarily to impress people. You live for you and for the one who created you.
Wow, that is so powerful. Thank you so much for sharing that. And as you're talking about all this, there is the next question that cannot come out of my mind. And that question is, Bonnie, yes, you've told me that, but how do I start living a life of authenticity? Maybe if you could help us understand where and how do we start?
I'll tell you the best place to start: become aware of who you are. You know, somebody said something that I thought was very profound, that we live life getting to know what is great about other people, but we are ignorant about what is great about ourselves. We are not aware of who we are. I'll give you a very practical example. So when I was growing up, I was the #1 noisemaker in the class. You know, every time they would write that list of noisemakers, my name would always feature there. And even when the teacher didn't see my name, he actually asked, is this boy present in today's class? Of course, I got labeled because of that noise making. But what I did not know is that that noise making was connected to my authenticity and my purpose. I didn't know at that point that I was being honed out to become a public speaker. And for you to become a public speaker, you've got to have an element of noise. The only thing you need to do is to make your noise constructive, right? Give value to the things that come out of your mouth by building your mind. In fact, I usually say noise is what comes out of your mouth when your mind is not developed. So what I needed to do is to develop my mind. And as I began to be self-aware and I began to notice that what I am is not a noise maker, but I am a communicator. And so I needed to remove the label of a noise maker and begin to become self-aware that I am indeed a communicator. So authenticity begins with self-awareness. Do you know who you are? Do you know your strengths? Do you know your skill set? Do you know your talents? How much knowledge of you do you have? And of course, the second thing about becoming authentic is being willing to accept yourself. So there is knowing yourself. Number two is accepting your uniqueness. Many times we see uniquenesses in others, but we are ignorant of the uniqueness that we carry. Now, what happens is that when you begin to be aware of your uniqueness, then it becomes impossible for you to be a victim of inferiority. Inferiority is simply a sign of uniqueness that has not been discovered. So you become aware of who you are, and then you embrace your uniqueness. And then number three part of authenticity is you use your uniqueness to add value. Okay? The thing about authenticity is that it is not just about you discovering your uniqueness. It is about you discovering how that uniqueness can become a solution to the world, can become a voice and not an echo to the world. So self-awareness, self-acceptance, self-deployment. Those are the three keys to becoming an authentic person.
Wow, that is so powerful. Self-awareness, self-acceptance, and self-deployment. Absolutely. Amazing. Now, this is the thing, Bonnie. Somebody is probably listening to us right now and listening to you. And they're at a point like, yes, what you're saying makes sense. But I am the one person who made the mistake. I am the one person probably who wanted to be a constructive communicator, but I followed the world, and let's say I became an accountant, and I feel like it's too late to have that U-turn. What would you say to such kind of a person? How do they start, or how do they change the trajectory of their lives from what it was supposed to be, or what the world thought it was supposed to be, to what it actually has to be and it was meant to be? Maybe if you could touch base on that.
Yeah, and that's a very good question. And especially that you point it to the place of career, because a lot of people get into a field and then later down the line, they begin to realize this is not giving me fulfillment. This is not giving me satisfaction. This is not helping me to become the best version of myself. Now, I like the question you've asked because it speaks to a lot of people who are out there that may be struggling with issues of transition. Now, transition does not begin with an external change of reality. It begins with an internal change of mind. I'll give you a practical example. So, of course, I knew I was a communicator, but when I told my parents I wanted to go the communication way, they felt like that was not the good career for me. So, of course, I was enrolled in a business school and I got into a career in business analysis along the lines of administration. And through that, of course, I grew very frustrated because I was doing something that is not connected with who I am. But where I started this journey of transformation is I began to change my mind. I began to look for opportunities in my current context that could allow me to bring out the authenticity in me. So what did I do? I went and I spoke to the head of department. I told them, you know what? I am very passionate about public speaking and people development. In the next departmental meeting, would you give me an opportunity to address the staff? And of course, I was given this opportunity. And that was the beginning of a journey that has unlocked so many doors that has brought me to the place where I am today. So what am I saying? Begin to change your mind by accepting that this is where I am, but within the framework that I find myself, I can begin to create an opportunity for that which is my inherent passion and potential. And for me, that was going to the departmental head and saying, I want to give a talk to the staff. And of course, that began to open many other doors until I was able to actually leave employment. So change your mind, look for your immediate opportunity in your environment. Every environment has an opportunity that can allow you to express your passion. Find it and begin there, and also begin exploring other places that could have open opportunities for you to begin to explore who you really are. But don't be comfortable and say, I have been here, I cannot change. That is a defeatist mentality. You cannot be a transformer if you have a defeatist mentality. So change your mind, look for opportunity, engage.
Thank you so much for sharing that, Bonnie. And I think my next question will relate to what you've just answered, because my next question is about consistency in terms of living a life of authenticity and living a life that you're meant to be. And the truth is, in this journey, there are challenges, and especially in this journey of communication where both of us are, there is passion and there is also profit, and there is also purpose. So you're living a life of purpose, and this purpose, you're passionate about it, but there is the aspect of profit and the economic side of it that I have seen personally many people who we had the same passion, the same, we believed rather that this is our purpose. We started at the same time, but along the way, because the profit side was not there, we find people diverting and taking the career that the world says is the right career. So maybe if I could ask you in terms of your wisdom as far as authenticity is concerned, how do we ensure we have this thing called consistency in this journey? Because the reality is many people start, but not everyone finishes the good fight.
Yeah, and that's absolutely true. The easiest thing is to begin a journey, but the hardest thing is to remain consistent in the journey. Correct. And why do people lose the fire in the journey? Number one, broken focus. When your mind becomes disconnected from the vision that you're trying to pursue, there will be things that will intimidate you and move you out of your purpose. If I was to do what I do just because it was easy, then I would have quit a long time ago, because it is hard every other day. But let me tell you, challenges only overcome you when your vision is smaller than the challenge that you're facing. But when your vision is bigger than the challenges that you will meet along the way, vision ignites something called resolve. And what is resolve? Resolve is saying, I will not quit, I will not give up, I will not throw in the towel, I will keep engaging because of the picture that I have seen. If you don't put the picture of your vision before you, the valley ahead of you will destroy you. And every journey to destiny has a valley before you reach the mountaintop. Now, the only way to survive the valley is to keep the vision of the mountain ahead of you. So that's very critical. And then number two, you've got to keep building your reserves, because every vision needs an energy behind it. And the energy behind it is the information you feed yourself with. A lot of people have bought into the narrative that I have to do what is popular for me to be able to earn. So they end up doing what is popular, but not what is connected to the real person they are. Now, that's a function of the information they've been listening to. Information will either propel you to your vision, or the lack of information will cause you to crumble when challenges come. So you must keep building the fuel of information so that your vision has a fuel behind it. And then number three, I'll talk about something that I think is very important. You've got to create a community around you. A lot of times, the reason why challenges defeat us is because we don't have a community that cheers us on, that encourages us to keep going towards the vision. If you don't surround yourself with a community that propels you towards the vision, then it's going to be very easy to quit. And one of the things that I do very intentionally is I support myself with vision-friendly relationships, because your relationships are either friendly to your vision or toxic to your vision. Toxic relationships are those ones that drain your passion, but resourceful relationships fuel your journey to the vision. So those three things I've found to be very helpful in terms of helping me to stay on even when the challenges come. And by the way, any road that has no challenges has no crown at the end of it. So the fact that you're facing challenges means there is a crown. If you are in a journey that has no challenges, you will end up in chains and not in crowns.
wow, if you're in a journey that has no challenges, you will end up in chains and not crowns. This is so profound. Thank you so much, Bonnie. Now, as you're relating with that, challenges and sticking to the focus, staying on track, I would also like you to also share some of the results or impacts that living a life of authenticity contributes to your life or to the life of people, to the lives of people around you. And as you're telling us that, maybe there is a young person or an old person who is here listening to us, and they're like, it's either too early or it's too late. So as you're giving the results, maybe just to help someone, when is the right time to start living a life of authenticity?
You know, that question is a very good question. And the right time is right now. Tomorrow is too late to begin, because tomorrow is not promised to anyone.
Yeah.
But the question that you've asked is very profound, because a lot of people have never understood the value or the profit behind an authentic life. Now, one of the first things that I want to mention here that I think is very important is that there is too much pressure to living a life that is not yours. Can you imagine trying to be somebody else from the time you are born all the way from the cradle to the grave? There is too much pressure in living life that is not connected with who you are. And so the first reward that you get from living an authentic life is that you are able to embrace a life of fulfillment. Fulfillment does not come from achievement. Fulfillment comes from full exploration of your authenticity. And of course, that may lead you to different levels of achievement and not necessarily what, society says. I remember reading the story of Mother Teresa, and Mother Teresa, of course, as history has it, was a teacher in a school, but her passion was helping people. And one day she went to the monsieur, the teacher that was leading in the school, and told the teacher, you know what? There is this passion that I have of helping people, and I am tired of living a life that is not mine. And that day she was given her last salary. She left the school, and look at what she was able to achieve with her life when she embraced her authenticity. Now, when you live a life that is not authentic, you may impress, but you will never impact. Because impact is not about how many people are clapping for you. Impact is about you feel an energy that is pure coming from your soul that makes you make a difference to the people that are around you. So number one is that when you become authentic, you liberate yourself from competition. You stop competing with people because nobody can beat you at being you. You see, today, Charles, if I try to be you, the best I can be is number two. You will always be number one. So I cannot beat you at being yourself. And this is the value of authenticity. When you become authentic, you stop competing and you start maximizing yourself. Number two thing that happens is that when you start being authentic, you stop comparing yourself with others. Comparison is an inferiority complex that is expressed by somebody who has not discovered who they are. When you discover your uniqueness, you discover that you're like your fingerprint. Your fingerprint is unique to you. Nobody alive will ever have your fingerprint. Nobody will ever be able to duplicate it. You literally become unduplicatable when you become authentic. So it liberates you from competition. It liberates you from comparison, and it liberates you from conformity. What is conformity? You think you are great when you're like somebody else. No, you will only be great when you become your real self. And this is where now, again, we say, anytime you conform, you abort your real self. You forget that you're unique. You forget that you're significant and you try to find your significance in being like others. One of the things that I discovered when I began being a communicator, I discovered that my competitive advantage is in me being authentic, not trying to communicate like Charles, all right? If I communicate like Charles, then I'm being counterfeit. And counterfeit has no value in the bargaining table of life. You can have counterfeit currency. It does not have the unique features. It will never have the same value as the unique legal tender. What am I saying? Authenticity frees you from comparison, competition, and conformity. And if you ask me, that is the definition of true freedom. Freedom is not when you lack chains in your hands, is when you lack chains in your mind. You freed your mind to become the best version of you that you can be.
Wow, that is very powerful and very profound, Bonnie. And thank you so much. One can listen to you the whole day, and
it's because I'm authentic.
Oh, nice. Now, talking about that, maybe if you could also mention a little bit, how is all this authenticity related to one's character? Because as you're talking, I could listen and I could feel that there is a significant correlation between authenticity and character. Maybe if you could talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, and by the way, when you begin to become authentic, then you begin to realize that character is not a punishment to be endured. It is a journey to be enjoyed. The only people that see character as a punishment to be endured are people who are not being authentic. They've not discovered their real selves. You see, when you discover that your real self and who you're supposed to be and who you created to be, then one of the things that you begin to do is that you begin resisting living a fake life. Lack of character is simply you living a fake life to impress others, to get the applause of people, but not living really based on who you are. Now, intertwined with character and authenticity is this. It is one thing to start being real, and it is another thing for you to remain being real. Character is what preserves your realness. It's like when you buy fruits and you expose them to the air, you leave them on top of the table. After some time, they become stale. But there's an environment you can put those fruits in that they retain their freshness. What allows you to retain the freshness of your authenticity is your character. And character is the preserver of authenticity. Character is like cutting that fruit and putting it in a fridge so that the bacteria don't come and make it go bad. Now, when we allow our lives to be without character, it begins to invite the termites of compromise to eat our authenticity. And we begin to release an odor as opposed to releasing a fragrance. And that, again, is what character helps you to do. Character helps you to manifest a certain aura, a certain glory, a certain uniqueness that is unique to you. But when you lack character, then your authenticity cannot be preserved. It easily goes bad, and it goes bad because now you easily begin to conform, you easily begin to compete, and you easily begin to get into things that compromise the realness of who you are. So what are we saying? We are saying authenticity begins with awareness, but it is preserved by self-discipline and character.
Wow. Authenticity begins with awareness, but it is preserved with character.
Absolutely.
Oh man,
absolutely.
That's so deep. So Bonnie, let me ask you one last question. Based on all this that you've shared us, which is very valuable and super profound, what is your parting shot to someone listening to this video right now? What is your parting shot?
You know, it is authenticity is a vast ocean that takes a lifetime to explore. but it begins at the place of choosing to be who you are and not to be anybody else. One of the things that you've got to do if you're going to be authentic, liberate yourself from the need to being applauded by everybody and release yourself to a place where you begin to actually discover who you are and optimize yourself. So this here is my parting shot. When you become an authentic person, you get to a place of being real. When the world sits down, you stand up. When the world stands up, you stand out. When the world stands out, you become outstanding. And when the world becomes outstanding, you become the standard, because nobody can beat you at being you. Be authentic all the days of your life.
I love this. Nice. Thank you so much, Bonnie. Maybe this is not a question, but somebody has been inspired and has been blessed, I am sure 101% by this message. And somebody wants to reach you. How can they reach you? Please tell us, what are the avenues and the sources where we can reach Boniface?
My main platform for interacting with the world at large, I'm on Facebook. You can find me, Boniface Nyoike Nganga. If you type those three names, you will find me there. You can follow me. I post every day on authenticity. You can also follow me on YouTube, Boniface Nyoike Nganga. I'm on YouTube as well. And you can also follow me on Twitter. Boni_Nganga is my Twitter handle, but my main platform is Facebook. If you follow me there, you'll find a lot of content that will inspire you, that will challenge you, that will ignite the fire of authenticity in your heart, and you will be empowered to become the person you are created to be.
Oh, amazing, amazing, amazing. Thank you so much, Bonnie, for investing your time in people who might not even know you at this point, but they have known you, and people that might never be aware that you exist, and now they are aware that you exist and you've been a blessing to them. And I want to say thank you so much for being a blessing to the audience and the generations of people who are going to listen to this video today, tomorrow, and many years from this year. And I want to say thank you so much. And back to everyone who has been joining us, I want to say thank you for participating in this amazing session, and thank you for investing your time being with us, because the reality of the matter, I believe that there are two things that will change your life: the people you meet and the books you read. And one of the person you've met today is Bonnie, and I believe for sure he has influenced you positively. And if you don't live a life of authenticity, in the end, don't say, I didn't know, because now you know. God used Boniface to let you know. Thank you so much, and see you next week in another episode of Conversations of Destiny. This has been your host, Charles Msilanga, and it has been a palm-pleasing pleasure as well as a privilege. Thank you, and God bless you. See you next week. Bye.